Hello everybody, this is Jane Hamilton Parker, psychic medium, clairvoyant. I thought today I would talk about déjà vu, which is a French term for seeing, like you feel you've been there before and it's suddenly you get this feeling that you know that you've been in a place. I can remember it happened to me. I was going to Bewley, which is in Hampshire near the New Forest. And I remember going into this church and went to put my foot down and I couldn't enter it because I had flashes in front of me of King John and hunting. And I didn't feel he was a very good man. So I stepped back and I actually heard the breath of the horses that they weren't passing through the church, but it just had a feeling that I couldn't go into that building because something wasn't very nice about it. And I suddenly saw the flashes of hunting scene and his crown on, and I felt clashing of the swords and everything. And I just stepped aside and I just couldn't go in there. And as I turned the corner, and I can assure you I've never been to this place before, there was a stone. King John had entered this place. I just felt I couldn't be there. And there's certain places I'm sure that you have been and you feel you get this sensation and I get what I call my TV screen in the third eye, that I actually see things visually and sometimes, we can be in certain places. You could be in Rochelle in France and then you feel I've been here before, or you could have gone into a chateau there and then suddenly you can see all the scene and you can feel the vibration, the energy, what happened, if it was a happy building, a sad building, or you felt that residue of people that had left there. As many of you, I'm sure, have had that and experienced that in life. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's like sometimes you can be in a conversation with somebody that we just met and we have a feeling and we can understand, and it's beyond our comprehension, that we can know what words are going to come out their mouth, what they're saying. And we have a flashback. Hey, I've said this before in this person and I've only just met them today. It's very strange, isn't it? Perhaps our perceptions are heightened. Perhaps it's something that retains in us from a past life, or perhaps it's something that we must be aware of. It's like a time travel, really, and shifting back into time. I can remember when Craig and we travel quite a lot. I can remember going to certain buildings and I get a horrible feeling, or I see it very clearly and visualize it. And then some places you go and think, this is the most beautiful place. I've been here before. So peaceful, so surreal, and absolutely beautiful. But déjà vu is something which happened, clear seeing and a feeling from the past. I mean, if we go back to Notre Dame, if we go back, he was a visionary, a seer, and could see things and sense things. And people are still talking about him today in the 21st century. And then they go back to his predictions and things in that period of time. Now, I was talking to one of the grandchildren, Willow, and she was telling me that with the school trip, they had to go to this place where there's a great fire. And she said, oh, it started off in the baker's shop, Nan, and I had a strange feeling that I could see those flames, smell them, knew exactly what was happening. And I just feel sometimes, do we have these inner fears, perhaps in a past life, that we were caught in fire, couldn't escape, and that we have a fear of fire? Or perhaps we've drowned in a past life, and we have a fear of swimming? Or have we been somewhere and we can't go into a building because we've had horrific things happened? And then you get this sense of self that you can see all these things happening, and it's a feeling, I feel, of protection. I mustn't go in there because I'm having flashbacks and things. Or like I say, sometimes, I mean, we've all celebrated the Queen's Jubilee and how marvellous it was. Really was marvellous, and the Queen is marvellous. person, how she survived, and how they have to not show emotion and keep the stiff upper lip. And, I was just thinking, in her time, she's seen many things, and it's like history repeats itself continuously, where we've got all this hoo-ha over Meghan and Harry and everything. And it was the same for Mrs. Simpson and the late King. So it's like history repeating. It's like I've been there before and this is happening to me. Are these things coincidence, or are these things flashback from the past, or déjà vu, that we have this feeling within the self that we've been all through this before and very knowing what's going to happen? Now, my next talk, which I will do very soon, will be predictions. And I'm going to do predictions on the royal family, because where Craig and I are so busy all the time, not just doing readings, but doing our foundation work, seeing to family and everything. And I like to put aside a particular time that I can do this and write things down that come to me. So I thought you might want to know about the royal predictions and that, because you can't just do these things at the top of your head. You have to sit in a deep meditation, and then you sense, and I see these things, and most important is to date them on a time scale, because anybody can say anything, like the Twin Towers, after the event. They don't say this before, or they say, I had a dream, or I was the first one to predict coronavirus and everything. But it's best to date it before these things happen. Now, I had a beautiful friend that came to me yesterday from Ireland that I gave a reading to. And she was telling me going to the Twin Towers, where it's all like a memorial thing there. And she said she had this great sense of sadness, and there's different corners and pockets that you can walk around it and view, and how sad, and that vibration, and a feeling how this all happened, a feeling that as you go there you can feel. And there's just one tree that's standing, that's caged at the moment, and a church that's standing. Why is that? Why is that standing? And there's all many things that she had this feeling, and she could feel and sense all these things. Now, unfortunately, around the world at the moment, we're having all straight phenomena that's happening. We have this war in Ukraine. We have a higher petrol charges, higher food charges. When's it going to end? I will do that in my next prediction. I do it 2 parts. So I do the royal family, and then I do what's happening in the 21st century and what's going to happen in the future. Now, I'd love to hear if you've had a sense of déjà vu, that you've walked into a building and you've sensed all these things. I do know there's some people attracted to old buildings, Pomeroy Castle, and they sense things that they've lived around that period of time and experienced that. One person I have in mind. I do feel that we can go into stately homes, buildings, and we pick up these things that we feel that we've lived in that period of time. We may not have lived in that building, but we're around perhaps that period of time that we sense everything that was going on. I mean, I don't like seeing the guillotine, because it's my belief that perhaps my head was chopped off with a guillotine in France, and there's different things, like people don't like walking up the stairs because perhaps they've had an experience in a past life that they've had arrows in their back or things like this, and they've brought it through in this life, and they have this sensation and feeling, and with different energies and buildings that retain all this residue. A lot of people, I don't know why, but are frightened to walk through a graveyard at night. It's the living you have to worry about, not people in their graves or that. It's the living and that. And sometimes, you can go past an old Victorian grave and thought, I knew that person. I knew that person. I can remember we took our youngest grandson to a countryside, which was an old village that was completely destroyed, in Chester Church left there. And he ran around all these different graves. That person died of pneumonia, that person died of the plague, and he was going on. And he was amazing. And there's a little girl buried under that church there, under that oak tree. And because it all got the better of us, we went there. In fact, it was a little girl. And I mean, I don't know how he knew it, but he picked up very quickly. And then he would stand near a grave and go, a tissue, that person died of, a tissue, meaning obviously they had a chest complaint and pneumonia and things. And did he experience déjà vu at that moment? Did he experience the spirit of those children and of those person? Did he have a flashback? Did he see something? So I'd love to hear your views, that you've been into a building and at that very moment it all felt as if I've been here before. I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly the situation, what happened. And I have this sensation in me, I've been here. Or you meet somebody and you know exactly what words are going to come out their mouth. Or you might meet a soulmate and you know exactly all about them. And that it'd be most interesting. But definitely if we go back into history in time, I can think of Joan of Arc. You know, they're saying that, you know, she used to get, of course, she got clairvoyance. They might say it's religious hallucinations, hearing voices and things. But she was a visionary and saw things that happened. Of course, in those times, they would see us as witches and things. Did she have that experience of things that what was to come? Most interesting. But I will come on here again and I'd love to hear your experiences. I will try to answer as many of you as I can. I try to reply to you as many as I can. Sensible people, I reply back to. Nasty people, you will not get a reply from me at all. I shall just ignore you because I will not come into negative energy, only positive energy. So don't waste your time sending nasty things or that. I just won't bother with you. But good people and people that there's a lot of people I'm sure out there that have experienced déjà vu, very much so. So do give your comments and do get in contact with me if there's any subject you would like to know. I don't proclaim to know everything, but I have wisdom and I can see things, feel things, I can guide you. I cannot give you lottery numbers or Bitcoin advice. Okay, now I'm going to leave you. I wish you a very happy time this year. Do look after yourself and do stay positive and strong. Ciao.